It's a new shakeup, the latest major shakeup. Donald Trump has fired Pam Bondi. She was the U.S. Attorney General, and she's going to be replaced by the Deputy Attorney General, a guy named Todd Blanche. So is this just another administrative house cleaning, or does it point to maybe a deeper crisis in the way Trump is governing right now? Graham Dodds is a professor and associate chair in the Department of Political Science at Concordia, and he joins us on the line. Good afternoon, Graham.
Hi, Sue.
So what do you think about Bondi's departure?
Yeah, on the one hand, it's not unusual for a presidential administration a year in to see some change, some turnover. And, just last month, Trump got rid of Kristi Noem from her post as Homeland Security Secretary. But now, just a day ago, firing Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. So some turnover, okay, but Bondi's kind of a unique person. As you suggested, she was incredibly loyal to Trump, and loyalty is something that Trump seems to value above all else. She was just a fiercely loyal sort of attack dog for him, the most transparent president ever, she said in your clip there. Mm-hmm. So, you'd think she would not be at the top of his list of people to be let go, yet she was. So people are trying to figure out why. And, some folks say, well, she didn't deal with the Epstein files well enough, or she wasn't sufficiently vigorous in going after Trump's opponents and trying to file charges against them. I think it's just possible Trump perceives himself as not very popular, and he's trying to do what he can, just sort of reshuffle the cards in the hopes that that might help.
Yeah, it was for sure. She did not seem very popular, certainly not with the press corps. She certainly was very combative. I like that you said attack dog, because I kind of always thought of her as a bit of a Rottweiler. But can you sort of illuminate the whole Epstein thing? Like why? She did seem to be defending him, particularly on Epstein and how transparent he was. What do you think how do you think she mishandled that, or in Trump's view could have mishandled it?
Trying to explain the Epstein mess is quite a task.
Fair.
Some people seem to obsess over this and read all sorts of conspiratorial meanings into every little development. I have to say I'm kind of mystified by it all, but there are a lot of people, including a lot of Trump's MAGA supporters, who really do obsess over this, yes. And they were just really concerned to get every little bit of information out. Initially, she said, well, I've got names on my desk, and it turns out she didn't, and then she was slow to get the stuff out, and as I understand it, only about half of the files have been released, and there's a law saying that they all have to be released. So, she could have dealt with at least the optics of it a little bit better, although who knows what about these files is going to placate people who obsess over them. I'm just not sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so if you just do a quick little Pam Bondi Google search, all the headlines say she's just the first. It's going to be now, like the Atlantic, Trump's purge, maybe just the beginning. Do you share that view?
I think there will be others. It's sort of hard to predict who, and to be honest, where Trump is concerned, I seldom want to make predictions because he is so radically unpredictable and mercurial. But it would not surprise me if now that there are two that have been changed, there's going to be a third or more before the November elections.
Yeah. I guess we spoke about Epstein, and I know that's complicated, but I want to ask you also, like, just the overall state of the Justice Department, which seems to have been under fire, but also losing a lot of credibility. What does this say about where the Justice Department is?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. This is sort of a broader, I think, bigger point that shouldn't get neglected in the headlines about Bondi. The Attorney General is essentially the head of the Department of Justice, which includes the FBI and all sorts of major institutions. And the Attorney General's job is to enforce the law, to ensure that justice is done for the country. The Attorney General is not intended to be just the president's personal lawyer or fixer or consigliere. But Trump wants to treat the Attorney General as his personal tool to do whatever he wants. It was never that way before. Even in Trump's first term, he tried to bully the Attorney General and the head of the FBI, and he got pushback. This time around, no one's pushing back.
And what about Todd Blanche now? He's the Deputy Attorney General. He's going to be the acting Attorney General. What do we know about him? Will he be likely to push back? It doesn't seem Trump hires anyone who's going to push back.
No, he doesn't, does he? Mr. Blanche, has sort of come to prominence for previously defending Trump and some of his many cronies and some of their many criminal charges that they faced. So, Blanche is emphatically a loyalist and will try to do whatever Trump says, and I'm sure that's going to include prosecuting some of Trump's enemies.
You mentioned at the top of your remarks that maybe Trump was doing this to sort of regain a little bit of his popularity. One of the issues that's causing him a lot of criticism, of course, is this the strategy in Iran, including criticisms from his own party. What do you see happening there?
Yeah. You say there's a strategy in Iran. That's kind of the issue. I'm not sure there
Right.
is.
Right.
And, it's just Trump is so unusual and different from other presidents. Usually presidents will sort of prepare the American people well in advance of any kind of military hostility like this. They'll also reach out to allies and try to get them on board. And there was none of that groundwork. So, he was on TV the other night trying to explain to people what America was doing there and why. And I don't think he gave an explanation at all. So, look, we're a month into this, and Trump has still not clearly said why he attacked and what the goal is. Was it to topple the theocracy and end the regime? Was it to set back the efforts to get a nuclear bomb? Was it to just degrade the military and its ability to arm proxies across the Middle East? Was it to get oil or somehow help out Israel? It's just not clear.
Yeah.
And without clarity about what the goal was, it's also not clear about when and how it's going to end.
Well, all of the above, I would say, although he's backtracked on a few of them. Now he's saying it wasn't about regime change, but it certainly seemed that it was because he already bombed them about the nuclear program, a couple of months ago. But it's just interesting that increasingly that criticism is coming from the Republican Party. How damaging do you think that is?
This is something that I've been struck by as well. It's all fine and good for the opposite party to attack and criticize. It's sort of their job. It's to be expected. But Trump has had just an utter stranglehold on the Republican Party since the early days of his first term years and years ago. So it is very notable to me that there are sort of luminaries in the MAGA sphere who are criticizing their president. Well-known journalists and podcasters like Joe Rogan. These are folks who've been pretty much in lockstep with the president, have not sort of worked up the courage to say anything bad about him for years. So when some of those folks are starting to say, hey, wait a minute, there's something up here, that's really notable. Are these the cracks and his support is going to collapse? He's already down to, 40% approval? We'll see. But I think politics is what's going to cause an end to this. Trump realizes it's not a popular war, including even among some of his supporters. So I think he's feeling the heat to try to wrap it up one way or another before long.
All right. Well, thanks for trying to make some clarity, shine a light on some of these actions. I appreciate your coming on the air. Thanks.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
That's Graham Dodds. He's a professor and associate chair in the Department of Political Science at Concordia, talking about Trump's firing of Pam Bondi, which by all measures is kind of bizarre considering, I like that word, consigliere. She really was his right-hand person.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all. Bryan Adams Radio. I'm coming back to you. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app. Everybody